Till the birth of Formula E racing in Beijing, and in 2025 the story continues in Shanghai. 22 of the world's best drivers as we wait to find out who will be first in the Far East. Welcome along to round 10 of the 2025 ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, and what a season we have had so far this year. The upshot is Oliver Rowland is the championship leader coming into this weekend by 77 points. However, he lines up quite far down the order for his running because he's been on pole for the last 3 weekends, but lines up 6th on the grid for this one. Let's have a closer look though at this Shanghai International after two 21st places last year. Vergne lines up on the top 10 for a fourth successive start in 2025. He scored points in all but 2 races this year. Jake Hughes' 31st birthday yesterday. That's his best starting position since Jeddah in February. David Beckman, his second ever dual appearance in Formula E and equals his best ever qualifying in the series. Jake Dennis has had a run of 4 consecutive points finish, which was ended in Tokyo after disqualification. That's his 3rd time, lining up 7th in 2025. Ollie Rowland sees his run of 3 consecutive poles ended by Maximilian Gunther here today, and it's his first time out of the top 5 on the grid since Miami. Then Vries, his 5th top 5 start in 6 races. He's 5 points in front of his teammate. Nyck takes his first dual appearance of the season and Jaguar's best qualifying of the season, believe it or not. Then Vergne lines up 3rd for a second successive race. He's won from that place 3 times in his Formula E career. Taylor Barnard starts 2nd, McLaren aiming for a 2nd win at this circuit in 2025 after winning the F1 race here earlier in the year. And Gunther takes his 2nd.
Talking about issues with the battery, meaning that
well, his eyes on the lights then as the 5 red lights come on. 29 laps of action as we go and send it in Shanghai. Gunther gets away well from pole position and chops over on Taylor Barnard, but keep an eye out from behind with Pascal Vergne sweeping around the outside and leads into turn 1. Vergne with an absolute corker of a start from the 2nd row of the grid, followed by Gunther. On the outside there is Nyck de Vries trying to challenge with Cassidy looking for 3rd place against Taylor Barnard. We come down through the left of turn 3. Rowland side by side there with the Mahindra as well as we come on the run down the straight. Cassidy gets a bit shuffled out wide. We head into the right-handed kink of turn 5. 3 abreast down into the braking zone of turn 6. Who's last of the late breakers? On the outside there is Rowland, in the middle is Nyck de Vries, on the inside is Taylor Barnard, and shuffled onto the grass almost is Oliver Rowland. He loses track position.
Yeah, and you can see Pascal Vergne gave up the lead there to Maximilian Gunther. That's exactly what we were saying, he doesn't want to lead, and now both drivers are trying not to lead, and this will create a congestion in the back.
Yeah, the Shanghai International Circuit is much wider than most Formula E tracks, and therefore we're seeing this sort of 2x2 style racing. Look at the stop. It's like a formation lap almost, isn't it? They're running all even through that chicane, and the drivers, I have to say, have behaved superbly on this opening lap. Didn't see any real contact, and we've just finished the 1st lap of the race.
Yeah, all the drivers have gained a lot of experience since 1 or 2 years in this style of racing, where the first time we had it, it was in Portland, and everyone was really wondering what's happening. And here was Evans.
That was Evans, yeah. He's got a stop-and-go penalty to serve, so 80 place grid penalty. Of course, can't serve that realistically in the race unless he's going to start in Sanya. So has to serve a stop-and-go penalty in this one. That's basically his race pretty much done and dusted.
It is done and dusted unless we get an early safety car, which will bring him straight into contention. Because as we see, Oliver Rowland, the championship leader, taking the lead of the race. Now, the reason, in case you're new to Formula E, in case you're new to the style of racing, the reason that they're trying to stay in this pack is if you're in the slipstream, think of it when you're riding a bicycle. Think of it if you're even going for a run and you're running behind somebody in a pack. You're saving energy, and that's what these drivers are doing.
Then mode 2 and maximum efficiency, full slipstream. Full slipstream for now. Mode 2, maximum efficiency, full slipstream.
Vergne trying to find his way through there on the inside. He was getting aggressive. Mortara's going to get pinched here between Nyck Cassidy. Oh, spins it round, does Nyck Cassidy, after contact with Eddie Mortara. And
3 to 1, there's a risky situation then. Arguably, Cassidy's the one who had space on the left to give each other more room.
Lock up from Jake Dennis as he was side by side with Sam Bird for 5th place. Bird, incidentally, has cycled through from 12th up inside the top 5. He wasn't particularly optimistic about his chances down there on the grid. Keep an eye out for Stoffel van Dorn, by the way, because he's moving his way up the order. He's the only driver actively in attack mode here in this race. So he's decided to get one of those deployments out of the way. early on. Let's see what progress he can make.
I think that's a very, very unusual practice, as Degrassi's done the same. I think in this style of racing, Tom, you want to keep it for the end. We saw it in Sao Paulo.
Really hard to follow, but it depends on the temperature on the battery as well. So maybe they're trying to do it early to be able to manage the race.
You're one of the highest on in the front, and you've got -2% 2 cars from the back.
So Rowland's race engineer just saying about his state of charge.
News.
No.
He said here they're one of the highest consumption of the pack. So that's an indication to know a bit where you're in the pack and how to manage your race a little bit.
Keep an eye on Dan Ticktum here, Tom, because remember last year they didn't have the Porsche powertrain, but in Misano we had this peloton-style race, and he spent the first 2/3 of the race just driving around in the pack, saving. And then in the last 1/3, he went like a lightning bolt and came through the pack. And this is some of the maturity of Dan Ticktum that we're seeing. As I'm interested to see if he plays that game again here today.
Yeah, I think that could be an interesting strategy. And if it works out for some of those drivers who are saving energy in the first half of this race, well, we will see. We'll know when the pit window is open, by the way, because we'll get a graphic coming up against the driver's name. Essentially a lightning bolt next to the driver's name will indicate that they are in that pit boost window. Meanwhile, we see Nico Müller going past Lucas Di Grassi down to the first corner, so Müller's been able to move his way up the field. Robin Frijns also making some good progress in this one as well. They're coming towards the end of their first attack mode deployment, so we'll see how this is going to work out. We're nowhere near pace that we saw in qualifying, or indeed even practice earlier on today. We're at the 1:14 mark, so that gives you an idea of how much slower it was compared to qualifying. In qualifying, we were down in the 1:08. In 300 kilowatts, sort of normal race speed, we were in the 1:10s, as we see the first pit boost stop being made by Nico Müller. So he dives in at the end of lap 12 then. A lot of other drivers now coming in towards that window. You can see that with the graphic coming up on the left-hand side of your screen. When that lightning bolt goes from white to green, that means they've activated and taken their pit boost stop.
And there's his teammate trying to use the tactic that Sonda just mentioned there. So Jake Dennis.
In terms of that, but Gunther's still got 2 attack mode deployments.
Let's see who pits now. Here's the pit entry.
Yeah, look at that flurry of cars coming in, all sort of on the lower half of the top 10, really, though. So
Gunther's in though. He's the pole man from 4th place. So that's interesting to watch out, Tom. Is what happens when this pack of Rowland, De Vries come into pit. Where do they cycle out compared to Gunther and Da Costa?
Well, teams have got to make a call in this race as well. They can only pit 1 driver per team at any given time. You can't double stack drivers. They don't have the opportunity to charge both cars. Rowland and De Vries. Vergne is only a second, less than a second, in fact, off the back of the race leader at the moment. So let's see if he can make some headway and get track position.
Box button, box button.
Hold on, attack.
No, wait. We got one more now.
Copy. Vergne 2 cars behind, 1 minute.
He's changed his mind because he's come into the pits. So when he says wait, that clearly they've had a further conversation because both Rowland and De Vries are in. So group of Müller, Gunther, and here comes the group coming out of the pit lane, Oliver Rowland.
So we will be with Da Costa at pit out and Gunther. Müller, Da Costa at pit out. They have used.
Rowland has just managed to make this work then, so he's come out in front of Nico Müller, in front of Max Gunther there as well, but Gunther has got 16 seconds of attack mode left remaining, and he's going to have to try and make this work fairly quickly, coming through the left-handed kink of turn 5. I don't think Rowland's going to have anything left to try and thwart his challenge, and indeed Gunther goes through and effectively into the race lead then. So Gunther it is now that is in front of Oliver Rowland. What about Antonio Felix Da Costa as well? Da Costa not able to get in front of the Nissan.
But this is still an energy race, Tom. This, once it's all shaken out and most of the other cars will come into pit, it's only Cassidy who's left, then we need to come back to, okay, how do we group up in terms of the peloton-style racing and in terms of managing the energy to the finish here? But at this stage, Vergne is in the pit, so the effective leader is Max Gunther.
Yeah, and he's got 1 attack mode deployment remaining, as has Oliver Rowland. Yep, so down the start-finish straight we go then. So Gunther it is that's now going to lead the way, but where is Vergne going to filter back in? What about de Grassi there as well, also coming out of the box? So it is then Gunther that leads, Vergne in second, side by side for fourth between Frijns and de Grassi. The Lola versus the Envision. Barnard's on the outside, as well as de Costa in the mix there in the second of the Tag Heuer Porsches. Target is Robin Frijns. He's going to pick off another driver in the next corner.
We are the slightly downside on energy, so we need maximum efficiency now, maximum efficiency.
Oh, that's a horrible message for Pascal Vergne to receive there. Needs to conserve energy. All the while, he's got a rear-view mirror full of Taylor Barnard, who's going to cycle towards the outside and goes through. Gunther's relinquished the lead here. Barnard hits the front, side by side with Vergne versus Gunther into the final corner. Gunther's going to have track position here, but does Vergne have better traction on the exit? Side by side they go down the start-finish straight as they head in towards turn one. Who's going to get second place here? Gunther it is that takes the position away.
I think Barnard's pulled the pin. I think Barnard's decided this is the moment where I have enough energy to go flat out to the end of the race. I don't need to be in the peloton anymore. And this is another factor we haven't really talked about today, is there's a go point in the race where the drivers decide and the teams decide we've banked enough energy
to the race. Back away from Taylor Barnard, both with Nissan powertrains behind them. And look now at Max Gunther challenging for third place here as well. Can Rowland do anything down into turn 6 for the lead against Barnard? He can, and goes through. So 1 minute and 15 seconds left then for Rowland. Gunther has got over a minute more remaining compared. He's not far down the road.
It's one extra lap. He's gone one lap later, so I think Gunther's in the best position here. He's got a bit more energy. He's up in the second place, and he will have 1 lap extra of attack mode. So Max Gunther, to me, is the favourite. Now, remember, Tom, earlier, I was saying, watch Dan Ticktum. He spends the first 2/3 down the back, 17th, 18th place he's going to cycle through. He is on the same strategy, sort of, as Max Gunther, and into the top 6. This could be a great result opportunity for Dan Ticktum. There he is, the yellow car, and he's going to blast past Nyck de Vries. The problem for him, look, the gap between him and Norman Nato, that's the gap he's got to bridge in this 1 lap he will have remaining.
Yeah, Ticktum then in 5th place. Let's keep an eye out for him because he said points were the plan. He's started at the wrong end of the grid, down in 21st place after fighting for pole position a fortnight ago in Tokyo. Thought points would be on offer, and he's up in 5th place and in a great position here. A little bit less energy compared to Norman Nato around them, so let's see how it works out for the Briton at the end of this one.
Do you think, Andre, Nato's almost saved too much because he's got 2% more, but he's out of attack mode? You know what I mean? Like, I think if you had that energy, you almost need to do what Barnard did and try and use it and break a gap, maybe.
Well, if he can keep with the pack and at the end when everyone is out of attack mode, and if he has that bit of extra energy and there's still some energy management to be done, then he's in a really good position because he can lift later and make some moves.
Okay, this could be the move for the race here, Gunther.
My feeling is we pass and we go.
His feeling is pass and go, and that's what exactly he's going to do, Tom, as he heads towards turn 1.
Pulls alongside, side by side we go, and Gunther makes it easy. Ahead of Oliver Rowland, leads at the start of lap 26. Jay Penske delighted down in the garage. Oliver Turvey watching on the left-hand side of your picture there as well. So Gunther it is now that leads. He's got more energy compared to Rowland at the end of this race, and he's still got 20 seconds of attack mode remaining. It's now Gunther's race to lose this one. So forcing Barnard off onto the curb. Back on the inside goes Barnard.
Watch Ticktum. Here comes Ticktum against Nato.
This is going to be hugely close at the end of this race for the final podium places then here. Nato defends. Ticktum trying to find his way on the outside into turn 1. Nothing doing for him. Vergne in the background ready to pounce as well.
That plays in the hands of his teammate, Oliver Rowland, who can have a bit of a breather and lift a bit earlier and save some energy.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. I was surprised Nato didn't burn up more steam.
Yeah, same socket straight behind, 1% less than Nato, 1% more than Barnard.
And this is the point on Nato now having to fight at a stage where he could have used more energy. Barnard having a look. Tom's hand is going crazy in the commentary box. I don't know what he's signalling, but anyway.
I couldn't believe he was going to make that stick. There was a hell of a dive to the inside, but now looks to the outside into turn 7 and 8. Side by side between Rowland and Barnard. Looks for the inside line into the next corner. Nato's there ready to try and take advantage as well. And Barnard goes through and into second. The new Nissans now close together. and here comes Dan Ticktum looking for the inside line against Norman Nato and gets through and up into 4th place. Nato now going head-to-head with Jean-Eric Vergne inside the top 5.
Nato's lost out here. He's lost out. He should have been fighting for 2nd place. He's now fighting for 5th against Vergne. Look at Ticktum. Ticktum against Rowland, and he's done it.
Ticktum goes through and into 3rd place then against Oliver Rowland. This is absolutely brilliant from 21st on the grid. Dan Ticktum in the Cupra Kiro up into the podium places at the end of this race.
I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Can I have the lottery numbers for next week as well by that reckoning? Look what it would do for the Drivers' Championship. It would elevate Taylor Barnard up and into 2nd position then here. Gunther, meanwhile, has cleared off at the sharp end of this race. 1.5 laps now to go, and he's got a 4-second advantage over the prevailing field.
He's having one of these Gunther days.
All under control on our side, 2 laps remaining.
He's just having one of these Gunther days, isn't he, where he is unbeatable. Unbeatable in qualifying, unbeatable in the race. It's just one of these magic days for him where the cherries all line up and away he goes. Now, Barnard versus Ticktum, equal on energy. Rowland is equal on energy. This is a straight fight with the final lap about to stop. Everyone's got enough energy. I don't think they're going to have to do too much management on this final lap. This is a straight fight for track position.
What about Ticktum then? Can he challenge against Taylor Barnard for 2nd position? Look at Bird there in the background, looking racy against Norman Nato. 2nd place though, very much up for grabs. Ticktum tried to challenge for the inside line, but Barnard defended, and I wonder if that's challenge possibly coming to an end here for Dan Ticktum. Can he invent something in the 2nd half of this lap?
Ticktum almost missed the corner there, overshooting the entry and lost some ground to Barnard, so I think Barnard's safe for P2.
Down in towards turn 6 we go. There is Maximilian Gunther going for victory number 2 of the season. Look at Vergne versus Oliver Rowland for 4th position here. DS Penske having an absolute dream of a day. Goes for the switchback on the inside here. Does Jean-Eric Vergne? Can he get the better of the championship leader? Side by side they go. Vergne around the outside for 4th place and through on the Nissan driver.
I think there's a last corner lunge coming. Ticktum is there. Ticktum is right there. Watch this, coming through 8. Now 9. This is the final opportunity into the chicane top. Does Ticktum go for it?
He does! He goes through on the outside, but look at Vergne trying to find his way through. Max Gunther takes his 7th Formula E career victory here in Shanghai, but who gets 2nd place on the podium? It's Vergne! It's a 1-2 for DS Penske ahead of Taylor Barnard. What a fantastic final lap here in Shanghai, and DS Penske delight here in China. Gunther takes the spoils. Vergne gets 2nd in the final corner of the race.
Yes! Amazing! Yeah, I mean, what a race. Real masterpiece. We executed it to perfection.
Well, Maximilian Gunther, the winner of the race.
Attack mode strategy, and
you can hear him, Karim. What's he saying?
Yeah, great gap at the end. So mega happy, and congrats to the whole team for a 1-2. Well done.
Max, you played that tactic superbly there, chose the right moment. How smart did you have to be to pull that pin? Was it just instinct, or how were you calculating that? It was brilliantly timed.
So unpredictable, and what a great show.
Let's have another look at it then to see how it was all set up. Look at this, what a lunge from Vergne down the inside of Barnard, down the inside of Ticktum, caught the Briton completely unawares. It was aggressive and robust, but he made it pay off, and a 1-2 for the DS Penske team, their first ever 1-2 finish in any guise.
And Nato, look, Nato's got squeezed by his own teammate. Rowland squeezed Nato onto the grass, and then he nearly ran the back of Ticktum. This is on board with Ticktum. Watch, there's a car on the right, and then look, now there he gets squeezed by Barnard as well.
Yeah, and Ticktum was looking actually at the P2 at some point, and then just in 2 corners he had to be happy with a P4. It was so annoying.
I'm annoyed I didn't listen to his radio at that point live.
Amazing job. DS Penske take their first ever 1-2 finish in Formula E. Maximilian Gunther, his 7th Formula E career victory, his 2nd of 2025. And yeah, he'll be absolutely delighted with that one. No surprise at all. Pole position and the race victory. Now time for the winner's trophy to be presented then to Max Gunther. Fantastic from the German driver. Delight for DS Penske here in China.
And now
time for the champagne to be sprayed. run and take cover for the dignitaries. And the celebrations begin. 29 laps of action then for the drivers to have contended with, and what a race it turned out to be. That really did have it all, didn't it? Pit boost, attack modes, and drama from lights out to the